Hey, this is John Marucci coming to you live from my R-Pod 179 in Petoskey State Park in northern Michigan. And we're going to talk today about the top 5 environmental helps for the R-Pod. We have 5 things that I think are very helpful for the R-Pod as far as keeping control of the environment within, controlling humidity, temperature, airflow, things like that are additions that we put in that are really good. I think you're going to enjoy them. So here we go. Let's go in the top 5 environmental helps for the R-Pod. Okay, so the first item in our top 5 environmental helps for the R-Pod is the EvaDry Petite Dehumidifier. This is really a nice size. Look at the size of my hand compared to it. Not big at all, right? And so this dehumidifier really is nice, especially if you want to run it overnight to keep the humidity down in your camper. It's very quiet, so if I turn it on right now, you can probably hear it just a little bit. Not loud at all. It actually says whisper technology on it. These aren't too expensive on Amazon. You can find them if you look it up, but highly recommended to keep the humidity down environmentally in your R-Pod. It works really well. You can see that there's already water in here. We've been camping up at Petoskey State Park here in northern Michigan in July, and it accumulates the water. It'll fill the reservoir up, and then you can just dump the water. So it works really well in terms of keeping the humidity down. So the first item on the list, the EvaDry Petite Dehumidifier. Okay, so the second item on our list of the top 5 environmental helps for the R-Pod is this Accurite Mini Humidity and Temperature Gauge. I really love this thing. It goes really well with the EvaDry Petite Dehumidifier, which you looked at as item 1. So this second item, you'll notice it gives you really in big numbers there what the humidity factor is in the cabin. I really like too, if you can see this, it has a low and a high, so it tells you what your range was in a recent time frame. I believe that's within the last 24 hours, your high and low as far as humidity. And then below it has a temperature gauge, so it gives you all that. It tells you how warm it is in the cabin, and again the low and the high in the last time period. So the Accurite humidity and temperature gauge is really nice. Look how big it is. It's not big at all. It can just sit on your counter like this near your dehumidifier, so you can keep track of the humidity in the cabin. Nice little unit for number 2. So here's the third on our list as far as environmental helps for the R-Pod, our top 5 list. This is a simple foot heater, electric foot heater. This is one from Holmes. It may or may not be available anymore. We've kind of repurposed this, brought it out to the R-Pod. But this foot heater is nice because it keeps you from using up all your propane when it gets a little chilly in the cabin. So it's just very simply, you can turn it on and get the heat coming out. It is electric, and because it's electric, we only use it usually in the mornings when we get up, only in waking hours and only when we're in the cabin with it since it's electric, right? You got to safety first, obviously, so you don't want to leave this running when you leave and go out to town or overnight while you're sleeping. So this is a nice fill-in those times. Specifically, we use it in the morning when it's a little chilly and you don't want to kick your propane on and use your propane up and your heater. And it comes in handy. You can bring the temperature up pretty quickly in a small unit like an R-Pod 179 or any R-Pod. So the foot heater, really ideal. Number 3. So here's our fourth out of our top 5 environmental helps for the R-Pod. This is just a small Insignia fan. You can see it's not very big. It's actually smaller than my hand. Works really well to put some airflow into the room. It's also nice for when you're sleeping. You can turn this on and get some ambient noise and get some airflow in the cabin when you don't want to necessarily turn on your air conditioner or big fan. It's nice and quiet, but it does put a good bit of airflow out. If it's a little warm, you can put it, while you're working in the kitchen, put it on in the corner. Really nice Insignia. We actually bought that at Best Buy. It wasn't too expensive. I think it was around 10 bucks or so. Really nice for just blowing some air and creating some ambient noise. So this is the 4th out of our top 5 list for environmental helps for the R-Pod. Okay, so the 5th and final item in our top 5 list for environmental helps for the R-Pod is this little Dirt Devil vacuum cleaner. These are really nice. If you notice, once again, like all the other 5 items, it's not very big. So here's my hand, size of my hand. It's really good to keep the cabin clean. Many of us, especially if we have newer units, you'll notice pretty quickly that there'll be construction debris that ends up on the floor after the first travel or second travel or several times. And the Dirt Devil or a small vacuum cleaner is really handy for keeping the cabin clean. The other thing I really like about this unit, this is a little older unit. They still have these on Amazon for under 30 bucks. But I love this length of the cord. and the fact that this has a brush on the bottom. So those are really nice little things to have as far as the unit. Keeps things clean. And that would be the fifth and final of our top 5 environmental helps for the R-Pod. Okay, so to wrap up on the top 5 environmental helps for the R-Pod, the first one is the EvaDry Petite Dehumidifier. Now that worked really good because it can keep humidity down in the cabin. It's nice, you can run it all night and let it work. The second one is the Mini Humidity Temperature Gauge. Keeps you apprised of how much humidity is in the cabin. It's a really nice little gauge. The third one is the foot heater, just electrical foot heater. We use that regularly instead of using burning propane to heat the cabin in the mornings, for example. Number 4 was the little small Insignia fan we got at Best Buy. Really good for an ambient noise at night, and it also gets some airflow going while you're sleeping. And number 5 is a small vacuum. We have a little Dirt Devil, but any small vacuum will do to just keep the environment clean while you're camping. So those are the top 5 environmental helps for the R-Pod. Hopefully this video has been helpful to you, and if so, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks and have a great day.